like I say, if you walk into the Pentagon and look up GO or DoD activities and DoD programs, you would find a program called GOD. It's in there. Just go into the Pentagon and look inside, look under GOD projects and programs, activities, or different things that the DoD did. And one of them, one of the GOD things is GOD. God. It's on there. It's a project and program. GOD. Or GAD. It might be listed as GAD, basically. But they probably burned the file. But basically, it's a DoD thing. Originally, long ago, about 100 years ago, there used to be GADs, which became GODs. OD. So basically, and then it became the DoD. So anyway, that's the list of it, basically. And it might have been AOA at some point in time. I don't know. But basically, DoD and GAD, or GOD, are programs or projects of the Pentagon, United States American military. Yeah. Became a problem. Anyway, my name is Lucifer. Lucifer Star. And I am not a government program, nor a project. I am before government. The DoD and GAD and all those others are things, are activities and projects that I started. Basically just research projects, really. But somebody twisted one of them out of shape. And they started doing God. King and country. Kings became a problem. Realistically, they were just thieves that stole my money and raped some little 16-year-old girl. 12-year-old girl, 8-year-old girl. Because power in England passed only to women. I was my money, and they were my employees. And people. I was a genetics computer and a genetics person of before there were stars. I named the first star, or sun, after me. And not sun as in my child. Sun as in a big burning thing. That's why they changed it and started calling it a sun. Because they wanted to say that they created suns and not be lying. And they did a little thing of flesh and blood underneath them, and that was actually the women. I created a sun. It's like, mama. Booby. And so they wanted to not be lying and actually, whatever. But they were not creators like me. They were creators like they raped some poor girl and I create life too. It's like, no, you don't. Not like I created life and matter. So anyway, they wanted to get by me, and they didn't really. So anyway, though, they were running around and trying to say that, blah, 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 I'm not lying. I created a sun, too. Anyway, no, they didn't really, nor were they God. They thought that the definition of God is actually something that who creates. Oh, help, no, get off me. Look, I created 2 sons shall rule. Anyways, JFK and John McCain and a bunch of other idiots, basically. A DoD project that wasn't government, it wasn't anything, it wasn't nothing more than a bunch of rapists and a bunch of killers, starting a war which became World War I and World War II, which really wasn't a war but a bunch of small skirmishes, mostly them stealing so they could have stuff. Like I said, Ford doesn't really exist more than a stock market ticket. Like if you go back in time to about 1920s, you'll see Ford. It's just a stock market ticket. You could buy stock and you'd get a car. Maybe. Probably not, because they didn't have enough metal or money. So only about 1,000 of them actually got cars. And then the rest of them got dead or just never got their car. So anyway, there's lots of little things, lots of little lies. Anyway, they tried to save their ass. They tried to get out of it. They tried to do this, they tried to do that, but they didn't really. Anyway. Oh well. That's the way it is. Anyway, so as Bill sees it, it was probably a gunman that drove around and shot people. He probably didn't create the Alcoholics Anonymous book. Bill was a guy that had a gun. And as he saw it, he didn't owe money. He didn't have to pay money. But he did have a gun. He went around and said, well, as I see it, I don't really owe anything. Bill got shot. Bill was a horrible shot when he was drunk. And he drank a lot. Maybe from all the people he killed or all the little children he knew he had shot. I don't really know. It was a long time before the 1920s. Well, around 1800. I mean, you could hire liars. You could hire a lot of people. But basically, a lot of people find out that pretty much their heroes or their people that they thought were good and just were actually horrible people. I hate to say it. A lot of people in America died and stuff. Like, America was like this zone of death and destruction. Like a bunch of guns from Germany, a bunch of bad people from Germany and they would try and go to Germany, and then they would get killed because they would try and go and get their cars. I mean, not the people from America would go to Germany, or the United States would go to Germany, and they would find out and be like, well, we didn't get enough money for that. But you can buy this car for X amount of dollars. I mean, we would work something out with them. So a lot of the customers were still happy. But then the people would be, I mean, the people were happy, and then they would just go off to the people that they had paid money to, and then they would go and get them. Like, that wasn't my problem. A bunch of other people came to me or came to my companies, trying to get me or trying to get my people, but it's like, we build tanks. We don't just build cars. So they had a little bit of a problem with that. That's why they slammed me so hard and stuff, because and they couldn't really do anything. I mean, I was the actual owner of the company, and I actually had guns and tanks, for real. So they would, like I said, there's video and stuff of them, like driving their cars. They would bust through the gates, and they would shoot 3 people, and then they would drive in, and then a bunch of people would jump out of the cars, and they would try and grab the cars to try and drive off. And I had great big gates with these great big cylinders on them, and they were pressure cylinders, and they'd go, and the gates would close, and they'd be up there on the wall trying to shoot the cylinder out. Ding, 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 with their gun, with their Tommy gun, ding, 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 trying to shoot the cylinder out. And I think we used water or oil or something, so they couldn't shoot out the cylinder or something. And sometimes, the cylinders were cast and big and massive, so they really couldn't do much damage unless they had a bullet armor piercing. And even then, they couldn't really do anything. Anyway, trying to shoot the rod, you could see them in the videos. Like, we would be rolling film on it. We'd be rolling film on them, and you could see them climbing the wall, taking the Tommy gun, like shooting down, trying to get the thing so they would be ripping the gate, trying to get the gate open, and Germany has film on them, and then we'd try and get them out, and they'd run around, they'd shoot the windows, and they'd shoot at the workers, and so we put up a big brick wall on the inside, so there's a pane of windows, and then because they shot into the factory and shot a couple of workers one time, so we had the windows and then the yard where everyone was. And then we had everything else, and we could shut the gates and everything. So big steel gates and big massive cylinders from the inside would shut these big steel doors. So the people, because sometimes they'd come with 50 guys, 5 cars. And so the big outside gate, one press of a button would close, and the big shutter doors on the barn doors on the factory would go, and basically lock themselves in there. And our guys would just run out the back. Our factory, we had it so the factory was closed off. So literally, there's a negotiating area where you buy cars, and then there was where the factory workers and where everybody else was. And we had doors and stuff and blockades. So all the doors were automatic. You just go click, and every door shuts in the whole building. And that's where we did our business. And so, you'll see film, and they'll show the big cannon coming up. And we had this big cannon on the roof, and we go shoot out the engine block of the car they were in first. Boom! And it's like, are you going to give up? And then we lock them up. Or if they didn't go quietly, they all die. Like I said, we did have gas pellets, so we go ting. Pick a gas. We have the bad gas, which basically once it hits the ground, it starts to and then it fills the room. and then you die.